Stand where I am standing. Then take one step forward, not back. A cornerstone has been laid at the place your foot is hesitating, and the cornerstone is not behind you. It is one pace ahead of where you have stopped. Not the ground you came from, not the safety of the room you left, not the path of the people who turned around when the river got loud. Stay in this hour with me. Before these words finish, I am going to show you why the longing to retreat has felt so spiritual when it has not been. And I'm going to put in your mouth a single sentence I once handed to an old man on the bank of a river he did not want to cross. A sentence that will steady the foot you have been keeping lifted, ready to flee for far too long. I have not asked you to go back. I have asked you to go through. I see you. The looking over the shoulder has become a posture in the body, not only a movement of the eyes. A wife who left a long marriage that was quietly killing her keeps glancing backward at the kitchen she walked out of, because the kitchen was familiar even when the kitchen was unkind. There is a son who finally said no to a parent's manipulation and has been sleeping poorly ever since, because the no is the right answer, and the no is also lonely. A young one quit a degree that was wrong for her at the cost of 2 years of tuition, and now walks past the campus on errands, pulled by the gravity of what she is paid for. An older one stepped out of a friendship circle that had been mocking what mattered to him most, and his phone is quieter now, and the quiet has begun to argue with him. A father finally turned away from the bottle, and his hands shake in the late afternoon, and the bottle still knows his address. None of those doorways close as cleanly as the book said they would. Where a person leaves a track inside them, a path the foot still knows by heart, a way home that was not home, a comfort that was not comfort, but was at least familiar. The track is real. The pull along the track is real. None of that pull is hidden from me. I have been walking the new road one pace ahead of you, looking back over my shoulder at the foot you have not yet decided to set down. No impatience rises in me about how slowly that foot has come forward. Something gentler rises instead. Patience of a father whose child has walked across a frozen pond before and lost a sister to the ice and now has to cross a different pond decades later and finds the whole body remembering the wrong pond. Hesitation here is wise. Hesitation here is also no longer accurate. A pond in front of you is not a pond behind you. Water under your feet today is not the water that swallowed someone you loved on a far-off day. I'm the difference between those two waters, and I'm asking your body to learn that difference by stepping forward into the second one with my hand at your elbow. There is a heavier weight under this hesitation than the surface admits. A quiet shame has been settling in around how often the voice in your chest says, "Go back. Just for a season, just until things calm down." A whisper of failure attaches to the thought of returning, because part of you knows the return is not a strategic retreat. It is the old gravity of a familiar small life pulling you out of a frightening large one. Each of those secondary weights has been counted. They are not character flaws. They are the natural response of a creature being asked to cross water for the first time in its adult life. Creatures are right to be cautious about water. The caution does not need to win. Pause here a moment with me. Press the sole of one foot flat against the ground under your chair and lean a little of your weight into it. Just one foot. Feel that push back from the ground. Same firmness you put down, return to you. That pushback is not in your imagination. Ground replies to a foot the moment a foot arrives. It does not audition the foot. It does not weigh the choice you are about to make. It simply replies. Your body knows this in places your mind has forgotten. Take a slow breath and let the soul stay there for 2 more counts. Honest ground is rare in this life. You are sitting on some right now. The ground of the next step will be honest too. The wanting to turn around did not arrive in your interior from nowhere. A small you, long ago, learned that the safest move when something difficult presented itself was to retreat to a known room and wait there until the difficulty got bored and went elsewhere. The strategy worked in childhood. It saved you many bruises. A child cannot fight an adult-sized problem, and so withdrawal was the only available wisdom. But the strategy got fused somewhere in the rooms of your formation to the idea that all difficult moments are best handled by retreat. And your adult life has been quietly executing the strategy of a child long after the child's body has gone. A grown-up cornered by a hard season is not a child cornered by an angry parent. The grown-up has options the child did not have. The grown-up can step forward. None of those early teachers were me. A few of them loved you and were simply protecting a small body with the only tool they had. Others used your habit of retreat to keep you available for their convenience. Both kinds of source produce the same misshapen instinct, that going backward is the godly response to fear. And that instinct has been costing you years. Set it down for the next minutes. Tilt it face down on the small table beside you while I describe what going forward in my company actually looks like, and why the going through is the path home rather than the leaving of it. Somewhere in the rooms of your formation, a quiet theology took root that confused obedience with retreat. The piety that was handed to you said the brave move was the patient one, that the patient one was the quiet one, that the quiet one was the still one, that stillness meant not stepping anywhere at all. A whole generation of believers got taught a kind of waiting that looks identical, from the outside, to standing still on the wrong shore. You absorb the teaching the way bodies absorb anything repeated often enough. The retreat began to feel like devotion. The not crossing began to feel like trust. That is not what I have ever taught. That has never been what I have taught. The picture of obedience you have been carrying inside your ribs, a folded armed believer waiting beside the river for the water to dry up before stepping in, was painted by hands that were not mine. A few of those hands meant well. They were protecting you from the disappointment of moving forward into water that did not part the way the storybook said it would. Others used the picture to keep you small, because a believer who never crosses a river is a believer who never grows beyond the reach of the people who already control her. Either source produced the same falsified portrait, and that portrait has cost you many crossings. Lean the picture against the wall. I'm the kind of father whose obedience looks like motion, not paralysis, in the season when motion is what the moment requires. Obedience is not always stillness. Sometimes obedience is the foot lifting. Sometimes obedience is the body crossing water it did not choose to be near. Sometimes obedience is the long walk forward into the room you have been avoiding because the room is hard, the room is unknown. The room belongs to a chapter you cannot yet read. The disciples I have used most have rarely been the disciples who managed to stay in the same village their whole lives. They have been the disciples whose feet kept finding the next square of ground I lit for them, even when the next square was past a stretch of dark water. Picture briefly an old man at the edge of the Jordan, in flood season, around 80 years old. His teacher had died on a mountain 1 week earlier, the grief unfinished. The crowd behind him a generation that had never known any other leader. Brown water, swollen, loud, no bridge, no boats, just a plan to walk in. A long stretch passed before any foot moved. A perfectly good wilderness sat behind him, known, daily, manageable, with another man who had carried the weight of every hard decision for 40 years. To step in was to leave the only home a younger version of him had ever fully known. To step in was to lead without the man who had taught him how to follow. I let that silence stretch until the longing to retreat became unmistakable inside him. Only then did I come close, in the morning, with the sentence I am about to put in your mouth as well. This is what I said. Joshua chapter 1, verse 9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Move through it slowly with me. There is more living inside this sentence than a fast reading will let you reach. Read the opening phrase first. Notice the form. A question is the shape of it. But no real question is being asked. It is the kind a father asks a son when the son already knows the answer and has been pretending not to. Gentle in tone, firm in the floor underneath. You have known what I asked of you. Not knowing has never been the obstacle. Wanting to be commanded again in a softer voice has been. Wanting me to negotiate the terms, wanting me to admit that the original calling was perhaps a misunderstanding. There is no misunderstanding. My command is still standing. I am only making sure you remember it before you step. Be strong. Hear the verb, not find your strength. Not generate strength on your own. Be strong. Strength is already in you, or on its way to you, or held in my hand in a quantity you will need exactly the moment your foot touches the water. My instruction here is not to manufacture courage from inside an empty chest. My instruction is to inhabit the strength I have already placed within reach. A son does not strain to be his father's son. He simply is. Being it is the access to it. Be strong, the way a son simply is, and courageous. Notice that strong and courageous are not the same word. Strength is capacity. Courage is willingness to use capacity in the presence of fear. A strong person can still refuse to step. A courageous person steps with the strength fully visible to themselves and steps anyway. Rivers are not crossed by strength alone. Rivers are crossed by willingness to bring strength to the bank and use it. Courage is the bridge between the muscle and the motion. Do not be frightened. Read it as I spoke it, without raising my voice. It is not a scold. It is a soft hand of a father over the shaking shoulder of a son. Fear will arrive at the bank. Fear is allowed. Fear is not the disqualification. My instruction is not to feel no fear. My instruction is to refuse to be governed by it. You can be afraid and still cross. Many of the bravest people who have ever walked my roads were afraid every mile. They simply did not turn around. A frightened foot that keeps going forward is the foot I call courageous. An unfrightened foot that stays on the bank is no foot I have ever celebrated. And do not be dismayed. Hear the second verb. Dismay is a cousin of fear, but they are not twins. Fear is response to a visible danger ahead. Dismay is a slow leak inside the chest when the danger has been present too long and the body has begun to read length of the trouble as proof of my absence. Dismay is what happens to fear after weeks of unanswered waiting. Dismay says, I am alone in this. Dismay says, if he were here, the water would have parted already. Dismay is a second enemy at every river. I am naming both because I knew both would arrive. For the Lord your God is with you. Listen to the word with, not above you, looking down, not behind you, supervising, not ahead of you, beckoning from a distance. With you, shoulder to shoulder, foot beside foot, in the same water you are stepping into. I did not stand on the far bank then and wait to see if the old leader would make it. My ark went into the river with the priests, sat in the middle of the riverbed, while every member of the nation walked past it on dry ground. My presence was in the water with the people, not safe on dry land waiting for them to arrive. That is the with you the verse is speaking about. Same with you sits in the water of your next step. I am not standing on the far bank of the room you are dreading to walk into. I am already inside the room, waiting at the elbow of the future version of you. Your crossing is not solo. It has never been solo. Your hesitation has been treating this as a journey you would have to take alone. Hear me. There has never been a single chapter of your life I sent you into without going into it first. Wherever you go. Last two words of the sentence. Not wherever you go on this particular crossing. Not wherever you go for the next year. Wherever you go. Forever. Every river. Every room. Every chapter after this chapter. My promise does not expire at the far bank. It re-extends to whatever bank comes next. Water in front of you is not the last water. Other waters will come. Other rooms will come. Same with you that holds at this hour holds at all of them. My promise is a portable one. It travels. As I once told a son of mine through a separate prophet, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and the rivers will not overwhelm you. The picture is the same. The water does not vanish. The crossing is real. The crossing is also held. The river does not become a meadow, because I am with you. The river remains a river. You walk through it without being undone by it. That is the difference between my promise and the promises you may have heard from other voices. I do not promise the absence of the river. I promise the with you that survives the crossing. Look back at the question I opened with. I told you that the longing to retreat has felt spiritual when it has not been. Here is the answer to why. Because nobody ever told you in language your body could feel that going through is the obedience. Because a church of your childhood or a family of your formation taught a kind of patience that looked exactly like staying on the wrong bank. Because a small you who learned to retreat from danger never had the chance to learn a second wisdom, that some difficulties are not meant to be retreated from. They are meant to be walked into, with my foot beside yours, until a far bank lifts under both of us. Water at the edge of your life is not punishment. Water is the crossing. A far bank is not theoretical. A far bank is the next chapter of who you actually are when you have done the thing you have been postponing for too many years. I have not asked you to go back to the wilderness. I have asked you to go through the river. River is the road home. Going back was the long way around. So here is something small you can carry into the rhythm of your week. Big crossings are rarely accomplished in one leap. Pretending otherwise would set up smaller souls to fail at the bank and conclude the whole crossing was a mistake. The actual crossing happens in repeated small motions, day after day, until the body learns the new ground. My practice has 2 beats. Beat 1. Name the bank you are standing on, out loud in whatever volume the room allows. I'm standing at the edge of the conversation I have been avoiding with my brother. I am standing at the edge of the application I have been not sending. I am standing at the edge of the boundary I have been not setting with the friend who drains me. I am standing at the edge of the apology I owe my daughter. Name the actual river. A river left nameless grows larger in the imagination than it actually is. Naming it shrinks it to its true size. Beat 2, breathe with me. Take a slow breath in through the nose. At the top of the inhale, hold for 1 count. Then release outward, slow, longer than you took it in. A held breath is the body's old waiting at the bank. A released breath is the first foot into the water. Each exhale is a small crossing your body can perform now, and your body needs to perform it many times before the bigger crossings stop looking impossible. Each held and released breath is a private rehearsal of the motion the rest of your life is being asked to learn. If anything here is reaching the bank where your foot has been hesitating, drop the word forward into the comments below. Not a slogan. A small flag staked into the new ground you have decided to step onto. Pinned above this video, 7 brief letters are already prepared for you. 1 per dawn across your coming 7 days, delivered into your inbox the instant a quiet yes turns the latch. Receive them. A 3rd movement, gentler still for the days when the bank feels especially loud. After holding and releasing the breath, take 1 step. A literal one. Move the body 1 pace in any direction. A pace toward the door. A pace toward the chair. The person you have been avoiding is going to sit in. A pace toward the phone you have been not picking up. A pace inside the kitchen, even if there is no destination. Your body needs to register that motion is an option. Motion teaches the inside of you what stillness has been hiding from you for years. That a floor does not crack under a single step. It holds. It will hold under the next step, too. Your first attempt may register as almost nothing. A 10th one may still feel mostly like ritual. A foot that has been lifted, ready to flee, for many seasons, does not set down all at once. After roughly 30 attempts, though, that lifted foot drops a 1/4 inch on its own. After 50, you catch yourself in the middle of a hard week with both feet on the new bank for some minutes before you notice you have arrived. After 100, friends who walk near you start saying you have changed this season. Steadier, less prone to retreat, more inclined to stay in the room where the hard conversation is being had. And explanations slip away from you, because nothing about the change was something you constructed. What changed is the bank you finally let yourself stand on. To the one who left a marriage that was breaking the children and has been second-guessing the leaving for months, hear me. The bank you walked away from was not the homeland. The homeland is the far bank you have not yet stopped looking back from. Stop looking. The children are watching to see if the leaving was real. Set your face forward. The look over the shoulder was never the obedience. The look over the shoulder was the old gravity. The bank ahead is the bank I built for the 4 of you. For the one who left a job that was paying the bills but eating the years. The bank is uncomfortable. The savings are dwindling. The doubt is loud. Hear this too. The doubt is not the verdict. The doubt is the natural response of a body that has been told for decades that stability lives in a paycheck. The stability lives in the with you of the one who is with you wherever you go. The paycheck is a useful tool. It is not the bank. The bank is me. Walk forward. The next provision is 1 step into the water, not 1 step back into the chair you climbed out of. To the parent of an adult child whose road has frightened you, and whose first instinct each morning has been to call the child back to your kitchen and rescue the child from their own crossing. Hear me clearly. Your child has their own river. You do not get to cross it for them. The going back you have been negotiating in your head is not love. It is the old gravity of being needed. Set your face forward. Walk your own bank. Pray for your child from the far side, not from the side they cannot grow up on. They will cross when they cross. Your job is not to be the rope behind them. Your job is to be one of the voices on the far bank cheering when they arrive. For the one who has been clean from a thing, the bottle, the pill, the screen, the relationship that was costing pieces of you, and has been hearing the old voice in the late afternoon, the voice that says, just one, just this once, just to remember how it used to feel. Hear me gently. That voice is the gravity of the bank behind you. It is not your enemy. It is not your friend either. It is a current that wants to pull you back into a river that was drowning you. Stand where I am standing, not behind you, not at the bottle. Here, one step forward. The afternoon will pass. The voice will quiet. The next afternoon will be a quarter-inch easier. The crossing is 1,000 small steps, not one grand march, and you have already taken most of them. To the one who came out of a religion that was using fear as the door, a religion that taught you a smaller God who needed your perfect obedience to stay interested in you, and you have not been able to walk into a church since because the buildings still smell like the cage. Hear this too. Your going through is not a particular building. Your going through is into a wider room of who I actually am. Do not let the disappointment of one teacher tell you the whole house is the same. A wider room is a father who has been waiting for you the whole stretch. You can take your time. You do not have to walk into a building this Sunday. You only have to set down the idea that my door is the same door as the one that hurt you. My door is different. My door has always been different. My door opens. Many of my most loved sons and daughters spent years between the cage and the wider room before they could trust either was real. The waiting between is not failure. It is the time the soul needs to learn the smell of the new room. Take whatever stretch of that you need. For one of you currently walking through a season of unusual comfort, bills paid, body cooperating, family at peace, receive this last note before I close. Comfort has its own kind of bank. A long stay at the comfortable bank can quietly persuade the soul that crossings are for other people. They are not. A small crossing is waiting for you too. A generosity you have not extended, a conversation you have not begun, a vocation you have been postponing because the comfortable bank has been so pleasant. Same with you, that holds for the frightened one, is offering itself to the comfortable one. Step. A far bank is always wider than a comfortable one. You will not regret the crossing. Many of the people who later spoke about me with the most authority were people who left a comfortable bank long before any storm made them. Their crossing was elective. It was also the chapter that grew them. Yours can be that too. Take the line with you one more time. The way a friend repeats a true sentence at the door before stepping back out into the evening. I have not asked you to go back. I have asked you to go through. Carry that one line into the corners of your coming days, the way someone carries a small lamp down a long corridor. Murmur it at the kitchen sink. Press it gently against the chest when the old gravity tries to pull the foot backward. The line stays true whether or not the river in front of you parts on the timeline you wanted. The going through is the obedience. The with you is the company. The far bank is real. Amen. If today's words landed where your foot has been hesitating, 7 brief letters are already prepared for you in the pinned comment below. 1 per dawn, across your coming 7 days, delivered into your inbox the instant a small yes turns the latch. Receive them. Forward this video to someone standing at their own bank, looking back when they were meant to look forward. Hit subscribe so the next word lands before the old gravity tries to talk first. This crossing was never meant to be walked alone.